We are live. Thanks for tuning in to the Boundless Authenticity podcast. Live tonight, Kung Fu, Trauma, and Paranormal Crisis Response. It's going to be a compelling conversation as Sifu Aman explores how martial arts training intersects with trauma release and the investigation of anomalous phenomena. We will examine what these experiences are, how they affect the body and mind, and whether they display parasitic characteristics.
Love it.
Sifu Aman will share visual evidence if he can from his field work. We're still working on figuring out how the share settings work, but we will continue with live discussion and we will have audience questions if you have any. Remember to subscribe to Boundless Authenticity for upcoming live conversations and in depth explorations. All episodes are available via boundlessauthenticity.podbean.com because certain people don't like certain conversations that we have, and that's okay too. If you're interested in being a guest on the show, email self-sabotageinfo@proton.me with your background and area of expertise. But let's dive in. Aman, how's it going?
Really good. I'm really honored to be here. Happy to talk to you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So tell everybody who you are and what you do, really.
Okay, so for the purposes of this discussion, I well, fundamentally what I do is I empower trauma survivors through kung fu, and that's a really broad umbrella term. The form of healing I practice is generally known as qigong, and that consists of healing techniques for the physical body, for releasing trauma, and also it addresses psychic negativity and energetic protection. And that's all kind of woven into one as one thread.
Okay. So, how did you get started doing that?
Well, it's interesting. I actually, so I started as a classic paranormal investigator, and I was doing kind of the kung fu stuff concurrently to that. And then I realized as I kept going that, the entity issue is not only a paranormal issue. Like in every with every entity attack situation I came across, there was also trauma involved. Sometimes there was physical injury involved, and I kept seeing this time and time again. So in my process, I had to integrate a more holistic approach to the healing.
Okay. So, as I'm thinking about that, how did you discover that the paranormal aspect was linked to the trauma and physical injury? Was it something
Okay.
that happened to you or
Okay. So I did have some early experiences early on in my life that were pretty indicative of the classic haunting experience that people talk about. Movement of objects, disembodied voices, things moving around. So I did have some early experiences with that, but really it was encountering people in the field. The people. So the way that I do the crisis response work is people post paranormal distress calls on message boards every day, all around the world. So what I have a codified response protocol where I will immediately link them my space clearing video via DM, open a channel of discussion, say I never charge for this work, which I don't, and I offer them further support via that way. Whether it ends with just providing the information, or if they want me to guide them through a video chat cleansing of their person or their house. That's usually how it goes.
okay? So, along with that,
Hmm.
there's so many questions I want to ask you all at once. I'm trying to break it down into the
I
simplest form here.
I
Um,
get it.
so, like, when you get a call, how do you tell the difference between a normal trauma experience and someone who is being, let's say, haunted, for
Yeah.
want of a better word?
So you have so that kind of goes into some points I wanted to bring up, if I may. Um, you have to look for objective, observable phenomena, measurable phenomena. So in a true paranormal incident, there's the phenomena is measurable, and there's something I call like collaborative phenomena. So multiple types of phenomena will happen at the same time. So let's say, for instance, like the room gets really cold, the lights start flickering, and then my phone flies across the room. Three measurable things happened at once in order for that to happen. So what I always tell my people is we want to look for the observable stuff, like are objects being moved? Are there electronic malfunctions? Are there unexplainable cold or hot spots? Um, Intelligent communication, manipulative communication, scratching, rapping on the walls, psychic slash, any number of things could be indicative of a actual measurable phenomena that's happening in the real world, as opposed to a purely internal psychological phenomena, which can be equally detrimental but is handled differently.
I understand. Okay. So, are there any common repeating patterns that you
Yeah,
see?
100%. 100%. That's kind of why I'm here. So with negative hauntings, especially of what would colloquially, and I'm using loose language here, so just forgive me. I'm using the best terms we have for this. But let's say we have what's commonly known as like a demonic haunting, right? We all kind of know what that means. But if we look at it very specifically and very closely, it can be broken down into repeatable steps. And the demonologists, and I know that there's been controversy around them, but if you read Ed and Lorraine Warren's work, they quantify it into three measurable steps of infestation, oppression, and possession, in that order. In the infestation stage, small things will happen. So that's when the entities will be rather manipulative. That's when they'll pretend to be something that will get into your heartstring, that'll connect to your emotional thing. That's why they appear as kids so much, because we let our guard down for children. That's so once the infestation phase, according to the Warren's model, which I think is actually, there is some truth to this, is that stage is about target identification. They're trying to identify which person in a given environment would be susceptible to their negative machinations. Once they find that person, they will then hone in on that person. And that's when stage two, oppression, happens. Once that honing in happens, they will experience both an increase in paranormal phenomena of an objective nature, and it will increase in severity, as well as that's when internal oppression will happen concurrently. And that's when you'll hear the negative voices, you'll get the negative visions. All this happened to me. It's horrible. But all of that is designed in order to break down the will of the subject, because at our core fundamental level, we're outside of their range of frequency. So they have to chip at us. They have to break us down in order to get us to their level where they can then integrate. So the entire process of haunting and possession is really just a big fancy way of looking at this chipping down process and breaking down of the human will. Once the will is broken sufficiently, possession will then ensue. And at that point, they become like Nathaniel Gillis and Steve Mayer talk about, they become an actual quantum anchor for the non-physical intelligence, much like apports or imprints, or in some cases idols, if that tracks.
Okay, Nathaniel is a friend of the show, so I definitely know what you're talking about. Hopefully, the listeners also know what you're
Do
talking about.
do we
If
need to
not,
set some background? We can set the background if you want.
you're free to do that if you want to.
Okay. So there's been some really fundamental and groundbreaking research by a lot of people recently in the field. Nathaniel Gillis being one of them, Steve Mayer being one of them, and there are honestly too many to name, but people are putting the pieces together in a way that I'm actually quite excited about, and that's kind of why I wanted to throw my hat in the ring, do my bit, because my take is a little bit different than their takes, and we'll get to that in a little bit when we come to how we actually protect ourselves. But there's a common thread that goes through all the research, and what Nathaniel Gillis and Steve Mera has shown is that so let's define an apport. Let's say this Sharpie right here. This Sharpie pen, let's say it wasn't here a moment ago and it just appeared right there out of nowhere. That would be considered what's called an apport. So, according to Nathaniel Gillis and Steve Mayer's work, and forgive me if I'm getting this wrong, this is the best of my knowledge, that this pin then becomes sort of like an anchor. And I want people to think of a literal ship's anchor, because that's an appropriate metaphor. These beings exist in a dimension outside of us, in the metaphor of this, above the water, thus anchoring down into our reality with different things. In this instance, the Sharpie. But the theory is And I guess it's a really good question. Why do they even need anchors? And it's probably because this reality is not native to them. So they need to continue, and then that goes into the idea of hybridization as well. Why even create a hybrid? Because this reality is not native to them. So what this is all about, the repeating pattern is all about, number one, increasing the amplitude and emotional vibration of the fear frequency in the target. Number two, it's about furthering the entity's usable, furthering the entity's hold on a location with the intent of increasing it. And thirdly, it's about literally integrating into the person so that they become a biological anchor, and then the entity can temporarily act through the host. So that's the pattern I've seen repeated: stage one, stage two, stage three, often in that order when we're dealing with what I would consider a violent or negative haunting. Sorry, said a lot.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, say more if you have more to say. It's
I
your
mean,
show.
well, we're having a talk. We're having a talk. Um,
Yeah. Okay. So,
we got a question.
do I?
Yeah, Boundless Authenticity said, "Why does paranormal phenomena
Yeah,
need an
that's me.
anchor?"
That's
Oh,
me.
oh, sorry. Okay,
Yeah, that's me. I'm just
you
putting the questions on the screen for any viewers that might be out there.
okay? Do you want me to go even more into that? That's a good question.
Absolutely. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the big and the first and honest answer is I don't fully know, but I have theories. My working theory is that they either want to invade our reality to a degree similar to as is spoken in like Gen lore and other lore, some Fey lore. They want to anchor into this reality because fundamentally they are either expelled from or not native to this plane of existence. So there's something fundamental about the nature of this plane of existence that is repellent to them. That's why they go through the trouble of like terraforming these little pockets in haunted houses. You can look at it as like a little micro terraforming thing where they're making a little pocket of reality habitable to them with the goal of extending that pocket of reality outward via increasing trauma, spreading essentially like a pathogen from house to house. And I have seen that. So the anchors help them stay here for longer durations because this reality itself. Oh, you figured it out. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. This reality itself is inhospitable to them. There we go. You got it.
Okay. So let's take a look at the backyard entity video
Hit
and
me.
see what happens here.
And you've seen all these? Come on, work. Oh, it's seeming like it's loading. Okay.
There you go.
Yep, run it and
Okay.
yep,
Now,
I'll
what
run
the
it.
heck was that?
Did you see that? Yeah. Okay.
Let's go right
Right about there.
back to that.
Yep. You see that right there? Yeah.
Again.
So that's a
Yeah,
classic
I saw
shadow
it.
man.
Now, I'm not sure if.
You're
Okay,
breaking
let
up a
me
little
just
bit. You
exit
still
this.
okay? Yeah. Okay. You saw
Yeah,
that
let me
there?
just stay out of that for now while you're talking. Yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
What was that?
That was a classic shadow mass apparition. It's one of the many It's one of the many normal forms that these things will take. It's a form that I believe is it's either closer to their native form or it's a projection into this reality or both. Um, but you see that time and time again. You hear about the classic black mass phenomena in hauntings. That's often what we're talking about. That's what is caught. That's the classic black mass that is seen moving place to place. And if you look at it very closely in your own time, you can see, and if you slow it down, you'll see that it actually is in semi orb form. So it's a
Hmm.
shadow orb that's trailing.
Hmm. Now, I've always wondered what's the deal with the orbs because there's different types of
Great
orbs, and
question.
most of them seem to take that basic form, right?
So I think that has to do with the nature of reality itself. So, like, have you heard the whole flatland analogy before?
I have, but explain it for the listeners.
Okay. So let's say that there is an entire civilization of beings that exist on this notepad, but their reality is completely two-dimensional. Me, as a third-dimensional being, has access to their entire civilization, their entire timeline, their entire mechanism. But how do I, as a third-dimensional being, enter into a two-dimensional reality? Well, I can't just go there realistically. I need to use a tool, right? So when I use a tool to put my will onto this third-dimensional reality, we have a dot, right? A circle. And I think it might have to do with the geometry of nature itself, but I think the orb is just the natural shape that most energy coalesces into when it intersects with our reality, and that's why you see it cross contextually. It's kind of my
Okay.
theory.
Okay. Well, yeah, that makes some sense to me. And I would add to that, I've heard the theory of like the Dyson sphere, where they
Okay,
say, that's the reason why planets are not flat and actually spherical, because allegedly, according to some type of physics theory, energy is better contained within a sphere. And so I often wonder if that has anything to do with it as well. Like that's why they take on that basic form, because
yeah.
the amount of energy that they would need to gather in order to travel, it has to be
I think we're kind of
spherical.
tapping.
You
I think we're
know?
tapping into the same idea.
uh,
I think we're looking at the same idea from different angles. We're looking at the
mhm,
same gym from different facets. But yeah,
mhm. Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned to me in your email that you were looking at things from a more Eastern
yep.
perspective. Go deeper into that.
Okay. So there are kind of two. So I'm speaking from my own understanding. I'm not. I'm only representing myself at this point. But the way I approach things is there's a yin and a yang approach to psychic protection, and a lot of people talk about Okay, for those who don't understand the yin and yang concept, you can think of it to make it as simple as possible, the masculine and the feminine polarity, or you to make it even more simple, the energy of a supernova versus the energy of a black hole. um, Yang being the energy of a supernova expanding outward, yin being the energy of a star collapsing in unto itself. One is dynamic, one is receptive. Ele- One more analogy: electromagnetism. Electric would be yang, magnetic would be yin. So if that gives us a basic understanding. So to make this very simple, do we want to get into the psychic protection stuff now or later? Because
Let's save that for after.
okay, yeah. So maybe we want to go through a bit more data.
Yeah, let's see. I copied that link, so let's see if I can get it to come up without losing connection
Cool.
and stuff. The internet here is not the greatest.
I have the
Comcast.
exact same problem. I have the exact same problem. I'm working. I can't tell you where I'm working, but I'm not working in my usual spot because of it. Um,
Right. Okay, I'm clicking on it and I'm waiting, and then when I get it up, I'll share the screen. Now, if somebody wants to see this footage, are you willing to send it to them?
yeah, but email me directly at sifuamanberry@gmail.com so we can have a discussion about it before I do. Because there is some danger to some of this in some ways. None of this is dangerous, but I just want to have a discussion before I share it. Fair enough?
Right, fair enough.
Yep.
Okay, let's see if I can get this to come back on my screen. Share screen, entire screen. Okay,
Okay.
if you can see
Yep.
that, we're good to
Yep.
go. What exactly is happening here?
Okay, so if you look at the bottom screen first, if you look at my right hand, you can see the vague outline of an apparition. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see it. It's somewhere around this area.
Yep. That's the yeah, the head, the torso. Yeah.
Yeah,
And in the above screen, you can see the outline of an orb, correct?
right
Right in front of
here.
my yep. Those are the
Yeah.
same being. Those are the same being in different stages of manifestation. That's at the edge of a lake in close to where I live, where there were a lot of reports of people crashing off the road, people seeing things and crashing into the lake. So that photographic evidence was taken from my team's investigation of that, and so it's actually somewhat out of order. The bottom picture was captured first, and the top picture was captured second. Um, the bottom picture was captured when the entity was trying to frighten me, and and then when I did the clearing process, it transformed into that orb form and emerged out of the water. That black edge you see is actually the edge of a lake. It was dark, so and people say like how do people know that I didn't make this on AI? AI would do better than this. Um,
There would be certain tells,
yeah,
honestly.
AI would do better than this. I promise you that. Uh,
And just for context, what were you using to film this with?
Full disclosure, I don't remember because I was working with another team and it was almost a decade ago.
Okay, so they were just
Standard
using like
standard cameras,
okay, like a standard camcorder or a phone
like
or
whatever the tech was around 2013 ish.
okay.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, okay. Now let's see what happens when we go next.
you're gonna see the England entity, and so look on the right side of the screen near the wall.
Okay, let's see. It may take a little bit to load up.
And some of these might be too long, but some of these shorter ones are going to be really good. This one's
Are
really
you
good. I
still
hope it
with
comes through. Yeah.
me?
Yes. I need better internet. Okay. Try clicking it. It might work. Oh. It looks like it's loaded to me.
Okay,
There we go.
so I see the entity here as it seems to be
Yep.
casting against the wall.
Yep. It's moving up the wall.
Okay. Uh-huh. Now what was
Yep.
that in your opinion?
Same thing. Same type of phenomena that was in the backyard entity captured in Oklahoma. Exact same species.
Okay. Let's see if we can go on to another one.
Yeah. Some of these might be a bit long for our bad internet, but we'll give it a shot.
Is this ghost cat demon?
Oh, I really hope this one shows. I really hope this one shows. Okay.
Okay. Whoa. I see it.
You at least got a bit of it. It froze up on us, didn't it? There we go.
Yeah, are we back?
Yeah, we're back. We're back. Did you see some of that? Just get to the end. Uh,
I did see it. Now hopefully the audience saw that.
so you can see the black mass peeking around the corner there.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
you know what? Share if you want. You can share this link in the description box for those who won't who aren't able to see it here.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Well, yeah, we'll do it that way because I want people to actually see what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah,
Mhm.
those are actually three really good examples of the type of phenomena that I'm talking about that we capture all the time. Um, and that's why I say that these things are objective and measurable. and they are attracted to the traumas that we carry. So part of our healing process have to do with healing our traumas, getting our health in order, you know? Makes us
Right.
less vulnerable to them.
I do agree with that. Okay, I'm gonna download the what is that? Gilkey?
Yeah, the Gilkey entity. Yeah, that's what the person who gave that to me was named. It's a PDF. That was a small gray caught in a house that was experiencing haunting phenomena.
Okay, let's see if I can pull that one off with the internet
I bet you
because I
can.
downloaded it.
I bet you
Let's try
can.
that one.
All right.
I mean, we only need to share a couple of these for people to get the idea. And this
Do you get
is
the idea?
some
Yeah.
spooky ass shit.
This is my life, man.
So
My
there it
life
is,
is
Gilkey.
yeah. Gilkey. Okay. So here's what I want everyone to notice about that. Okay. Notice how it's not even as tall as the child's gate right there. That's a gate to stop kids from going downstairs. Um,
Right.
it's not even as tall as
Uh-huh.
that.
There it is.
That's
Yeah.
one interesting. Notice the bottom. It almost looks like a cloven hoof. That's kind of my
Yeah, that
theory.
foot is really strange.
Right, that looks like a cloven hoof to me. So, like Nathaniel Gillison, Steve
Oh.
Mera, and a lot of other researchers say, they blend between archetypes. So, what this was caught on a still motion camera, and it was screenshot and brought to me. This entity was manifesting, but my theory is it was towards the end of the manifestation phase, whereas the ones we saw prior were more in the middle of the manifestation stage when they were more shadow-like.
Hmm. Okay, now my question, I guess I should ask it, is how is it able to get so much energy to complete its manifestation, and what happens next?
Probably by terrorizing the family, because that particular family had three children, and children send off a lot of vibrational energy when they're terrified, when they're and how this is exactly quantified we're still working on. Some people think it's the pheromones released, some people think it's the actual electromagnetic vibrations of the fear, but that wouldn't happen until about mid to late stage two, which is where that family was. That doesn't just happen overnight. That's stuff like that's a buildup.
Hmm. Okay, let's try for Ghost Cat Demon one more time.
I don't know. Like the most important parts in the last
Something about
five
Ghost Cat
seconds.
Demon makes me
The most
okay.
important parts of the last five
So I
seconds.
downloaded it.
Yep.
Okay, there you go. So this is the last 5 seconds of
Yep.
Ghost
Yep.
Cat
This is the most
Demon.
important part. Wait. Just wait. Boom.
Now I see it move.
Do
Now right
you
here is where it
right there, right there. That's what I want.
moves.
Right there. That proves
Yeah.
that it is shape shifting, nebulous, and very inky. That right there is
Uh-huh.
evidence of its shape shifting nature. That was taken in
Hmm.
just south of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Wow. That is just I mean, I like I said to you, I lived in Washington state for a short period of time and I didn't like the vibe of it. Of
I don't
course, it was
blame you.
during winter, most of the stuff was dead, but I felt like I saw a lot of stuff moving in the shadows that just didn't sit right with me. I was like, "Oh
It's
no,
it's it's,
this is
it's fertile investigation ground. I'll tell you that.
yeah, yeah, yeah." But then I didn't do any better than that because then I moved close to the Appalachians in
Oh no,
Pennsylvania.
you're
Worse.
just you're right there with us now.
So yeah, I was born in Barbados. That's currently where I reside. I moved back here, and it ain't any better here either. It's a really massive psychic hotspot, like
Hmm.
166 square miles of pure hell.
Right, right,
there's
right.
there's all these different, like, even where I live, just a couple weeks ago, there's a construction site about 14 feet in that direction from me, and they excavated the body of what we suspect might be a child. And the foundation to that property was done in 1937.
Hmm.
So prior to that, this land was plantation land. Okay. So you know that it's slave related.
Hmm.
And back in those days, if you were a slave, you were considered even worse than a dog, and they just dump you
You
anywhere and
might
just forget about you,
you,
you know?
you might need to get someone out there to do some work. Um,
I actually had my friend, very skilled lady, do some clearing for me this
Good,
week.
good,
Yeah.
good. I'm glad. I'm glad.
Mm, yeah. It's wild stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just I'm no stranger to this kind of stuff, and I'm still fascinated. I still find that I want to go right back to zero and start over again every time with fresh new ideas on it, regardless, because everybody tries to pretend that they're experts on the internet these days, but nobody's actually an expert. We're all just
100%.
investigating. And so I would encourage any of the listeners to investigate, try to figure out some meaning that's unique to you, and really sit around and think about it. It's a hell of a lot better than watching TV, I'll tell you that.
It's you could. I'm the way I look at it is like you could either live in your own movie or you could watch a movie about a fake character. Like you're only here once. Might as well do something interesting, or at least you're only here as this once. But that's a different discussion.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can go into that if you want to.
Probably that's like a whole different thing. But I did want to talk a little bit about protection if you're open to it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but can we kind of have a little bit of dialogue, me and you, real quick? Because
Yeah.
I know you talk to a lot of people, a lot of really educated, famous people. Jerry Marzinski, Nathaniel Gillis. I'm really impressed with your channel and some of the people that you've got on there. So, as someone who's had access to all these thinkers, what are some of the things you've seen that work for protection? Before I get into my ideas, what have you seen that works?
Well, everyone has their own theory, and I have my own theory. My
Okay.
first most fundamental theory is to heal yourself.
Yes,
If
100%.
you don't understand what shadow work, as it's typically called, really entails, then you're fucked, man. Like
Yeah.
you have to understand that concept. And you have to understand that along with that, it's a lifelong journey, but there are particular ways that you need to speak to yourself that will yield a certain quality of information. All everything, even though everything is mind, we still use the term conscious and unconscious, but there's very little that isn't conscious to you. You're just not asking the right questions, or you're just not in the right state of mind. So for you, for example, you may have an insight that you need to question, or a resolution to something that happens naturally because you're just training your martial arts and you're just in that state and it comes easy for you. There's no blockages, right? But I also encourage people to just go looking for things at random. Set 5 to 10 minutes every day where you just go and you invite your mind to give you some information that needs to be processed, because all the unresolved stuff that you carry is food for these things. So that's my theory. All of your
Love it.
unresolved traumas, all of your things that happen to you, even stuff that's joyful, that's just taking up like computing speed, the RAM in your brain. If you don't clear that, it's like when you turn off your PC, right? It flushes the RAM. So you have to do the same thing to your brain daily, sometimes even regular intervals if you have a stressful life, because you're accumulating all this stuff that you carry, and they're just like, oh my gosh, that's like a bag of Doritos for them, right?
Mhm.
So, um, along with that, your space has to be clean, but that doesn't necessarily mean, mop and sweep and dust every day. It means that you have your own particular energetic signature, and it's bonded to whatever space you occupy for a certain length of time. For some people leave more of an imprint than others, much more quickly. Some people take a while to kind of settle in and become one with the molecular structure, if you will. This is where I'm at with it. And so Grounding is really important. Sending negative energy into the earth is important. You can do it outside, you can do it in your space. You can visualize, you know, the violet flame works well, golden light works well. There's particular colors that may appeal to you when you meditate, and you have to learn to look for those because those will help you too, because they
Uh,
kind of indicate your own I don't want to
uh-huh.
use the word vibration and frequency because those are killed to death in the wrong context, but essentially your energetic blueprint, your signature. We all have one that's unique to us. For Christ's sake, the government can see it on a blip on a map if they want to find you. You know, when you go through TSA, they mark that and they save it. And that's not, beat around the bush with stuff like that. You have your own, and it is possible for billions of people to have a unique thumbprint. Like so, your inner work and your internal process shouldn't be something that you get from some influencer somewhere. Sure, that can help. Reading books can help. Having mentors like yourself, myself, my guests, that can help. But because you are as unique as your own thumbprint, so is your energetic signature. So is the way that you access your own innate psychic capacity and things like that. And so you have to work with that and learn how to keep your space clean and clear. And yeah, that's just my theory. You got to be in control of that. Keep your space energetically clean. Of course, along with the energetic cleanliness, should be a desire to want to keep the place nice and clean, because you just don't want dirt and energy to get stuck in places. That's probably as simple as I can find to say it. I'm sure
Cool.
there's probably people scratching their heads, but yeah, you can add to
No,
that.
well, so what I tracked from all that was it's about maintaining your personal, and I agree with you, vibration, right? But like that's the word that we have for this idea. It's about maintaining your state at a certain level, like we talked about earlier, where we are inaccessible to these negative forces. So I kind of have my own, I have a kind of a two-tiered approach. One I'm going to share publicly, the other I only teach privately because it's much, the other is much more complicated. But the one I'm going to share today, I want to kind of set the foundation for my theory, if that's okay with you. Okay, here we go. This is why I came on the podcast. This right here is why I'm here. All right. What do we know about these entities when they're preying on us? We know a couple things. We know consistently that they need, and I'm using that word deliberately, they need us to be in a lower vibrational emotional state. They will go out of their way to make that happen. They will move heaven and earth to make that happen. So, what we don't realize that we as humans have the ability to counter that in a very unique way. The Institute of Heart Math has proven that the human heart is an electromagnetic battery that is measurable minimum up to 8 feet away when in a state of heart coherence. It is measurable at 0.01 to 0.10 hertz, if I got that right. It's a measurable frequency that we can emanate from our hearts at will. And what do we know about frequencies? They can be amplified. We can increase a frequency's amplitude. So what else do we know? These beings that we're talking about are electromagnetic in nature when they manifest in our reality, and they are trying to establish a dominant field frequency in a given location. So I think most people don't go far enough. When they say don't be afraid, I say let's go beyond that. Let's radiate love. Let's deliberately radiate a frequency through specific meditation techniques that is counter to that of the frequency trying to be imposed on us, and let's do it with enough emotional amplitude to actually win and create the actual fucking dominant frequency, sorry, create the actual frequency in the space that will actually stop the paranormal phenomena using the scientific mechanism that we are innately born with to defend our reality, using our own heart center. And in Buddhism, that concept is called metta, or loving kindness. In Christianity, it's agape, unconditional love. It's bhakti in yoga, the idea of heart energy. We have the ability to cultivate and project our own frequencies And if you're open to it, I'd like to guide you and the audience through a very simple process that will allow us to create our own psyche shield. Would that be something you're interested in?
Okay, go ahead. Teach us.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so first of all, if you're driving, don't do this. If you're operating heavy machinery, don't do this. If you're under the influence of any substances that you're not normally under the influences of, probably take a break on this. Make sure that we're in a safe place to do this. But what we're going to do is essentially we're going to get into a state of heart coherence using a combination of physical touch, the breath, and creative visualization. That sound good? So have you? We're probably of a relatively similar age. You've seen Harry Potter, right?
Yeah, I've seen Harry Potter.
Okay. You know the Patronus charm?
Hmm.
That's essentially what we're doing. Um, there's actually a lot of value in harnessing the emotional energy of good memories that make us feel connected to love, make us feel connected to source. And then when we tie that with creative visualization and breath work, we have the ability to change our frequency in the body. So I'm just going to guide us through a simple process. And if you're safe to do it, feel free to follow along with me. Okay? So first of all, let's just sit straight up and let's place one hand on our heart and one hand on our belly. Let's gently relax the shoulders. And let's just take some long, slow breaths in through the nose and gently out through the mouth or the nose, whatever feels right to you. Exhaling slightly longer than you inhale, and just feel your belly expand. One more big belly breath to drop us into state. And now let's move our awareness from our belly to our heart and just breathe naturally. Let your breath be deep and natural. And if you want to, feel the warmth of your own hand on your heart and let that bring your awareness into your heart center. And from that place, just bring to mind something you're grateful for. Maybe it's something that you're blessed to have. Maybe it's a moment of pure love. Maybe it's a space in nature. Or maybe it's even just your favorite color. Whatever that is for you, allow a gentle smile to creep across your face if it's authentic. If that smile makes you feel authentically happy, let that gentle smile creep across your face. And then with the breath, let's move that smile from the heart through the whole body and then out of the body to surround the body in a halo of the brightest light that you can imagine. This light is often bright white, gold, electric violet, or robin's egg blue. A lot of people have success with all those. You could play with any or multiples. And together, we're going to refocus on those good feelings of gratitude, that good memory. And we're going to just breathe those good colors into the body. And we're going to release all stress on the exhale. With a sigh out if it feels right. Sighing activates the vagus nerve. And we're just going to do this together for 30 breaths. And it's okay to get silly. Let yourself get silly. I'm an overweight Indian man in a Seattle shirt, like breathing deeply online. Like let yourself get silly. So let's breathe into that reality. Breathe those colors into every cell and sigh everything out. Release the tension. Feel the warmth in your heart radiating outwards. And now, just for everyone watching, I'm going to raise my hand when we inhale and lower when we exhale. We have about 20 more to do. Good work. Breathing it into every cell, breathing it into your inner child, breathing it into anything that no longer serves and releasing it. Now we'll just do about 10 more. There's no hard and fast rule. It's really just a feeling. Let's just together do 10 more full deep breaths as we bring that light and joy into our heart and belly. And head, belly, chest, head, and exhale with a sigh to activate the vagus nerve. Five more and we'll be done, I promise. I know that seems long, but it's important we feel it. Five more. Last one. Keep the eyes closed. Bring the hands from the heart down to the belly button. And let's allow that energy sink from the heart into the belly as we rub our belly clockwise, which means to the left from your own perspective. Rub your belly in little circles and feel the energy dropping from the heart into the belly as the energy condenses more and more. Gets hotter and denser like a beautiful battery. Yeah, sighing and yawning is a good sign. Parasympathetic reset. We're activating our parasympathetic nervous system. And then just hold your belly for a moment. Bring your attention to the top of your head. And slowly move your awareness downward from the top of your head, noticing that every cell that passes under your awareness lights up from within with brilliant, beautiful, protective light of whatever color your own body needs in order to be fully protected. And it can be multiple colors. Your head lit up and beautiful, your heart and your belly center, connecting all the way down into the earth, grounding yourself in the earth, breathing life up from the earth into your belly. And now I'm just going to time it. We're going to stay in this little meditation for just 1 minute. And I want everyone who's doing this to feel the love in their bodies and focus on the bright light around them to repel any negative unseen influences from their field. For 1 minute, we're going to meditate together. And then I'll chant to bring us back. Any sounds that you hear just take you deeper and deeper into your state of stillness. Whole body lit up with light, and that light sealed into your belly, sealing into your field. Oh, at whatever rate feels right to you, at the rate and speed that you know you can come back to this recording anytime you want. Slowly, and if you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause the video. Slowly bring yourself back to waking awareness, noticing what feels different in the body. There we go.
I feel like I hit a joint, bro.
Yeah. So that's I teach everyone. Every paranormal victim I come across. That's one of the first things I teach. Some variant of that. I made it a little fancy because you're an advanced crew, so I added some bells and whistles to it. But really, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is hand on the heart, move the awareness into the heart. Think of something think of pure love. Allow that love to expand through your field, and just breathe with that love. Make what you're feeling internally more important than any negative paranormal phenomena that might be trying to distract you. That's the big key to making this work, because the phenomena will try to distract you. You have to have the mental discipline in order to hold that state in the face of phenomena going off. And that's why it's a little harder than it seems, but that's a really good starting point for a lot of people.
Well, as you mentioned, I'm advanced. I mean, I got decades into this thing,
Yeah.
and um, my experience is that this kind of stuff does work.
Mm-hmm.
But for those just getting started, I would want to ask the question on their behalf: how long does this last? What's the effect,
Good
and
question.
how long does it
So,
last?
so that's a really good question. I like to think of this as sort of an energetic vitamin pill that we take every day in order to boost our immune system. I consider having a protected aura similar to having a strong immune system. So, right, in the same way we try to tend to our health, in the same way we try to tend to our hygiene, we brush our teeth every day. So what I'm saying is, like, at first it'll probably just shut down the immediate phenomena, but given enough time, as you build, it has a synergistic effect to where your very being becomes repellent to the phenomena. But it does take time. Usually, I teach people this as a practice to do before they go to bed if they're experiencing nocturnal phenomena, and it's really good for that purpose. That, along with adding LED lights, hematite, and some other little tricks we use. Um, but this psychic shielding idea is a really important part of it. The other part, and that's the yang part of it. The yin part of it is what I consider energetic cloaking, where we actually make our energy imperceptible to the negative forces. But that's beyond the scope of what I can get into here. If you want to learn that, you can email me at my email. um,
Okay. Okay, great. Um, Final question. If a person feels like they're being spiritually attacked, what's the first thing they should do?
find help. Find a qualified practitioner of some kind. If you like, I offer my email, cfuamunberry@gmail.com. There are a lot of other people that can help you, right? If you legitimately feel like you're being assaulted, reach out for help, because this is not, there's so much stigma. And one of the reasons I'm even doing this pod, like, this year is my year of, like, coming out about this. I've been in the dark for over 2 decades doing this. But the reason I'm doing this podcast tour is because I've seen so much stigma about people being ashamed of being spiritually attacked. They don't talk about it. They're not allowed to talk about it in their culture. So let's break that stigma. In the same way you're having a mental health crisis, you don't handle that alone. You call the hotlines, you call for help, you call your therapist. Same thing here. We're not meant to deal with this alone. That would be step one.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Aman, this has been a good conversation.
I enjoyed it
Um,
too.
really fun, genuine character, great desire to make a difference in humanity. I wish you all the best on your journey.
Thank
Tell
you.
us where we can find you.
You can find me on the Shambhala Dojo on YouTube and Sifu Amunberry at gmail.com.
Fantastic. Remember, you can subscribe to Boundless Authenticity right here on YouTube. Also, some episodes are not on YouTube, and I don't know why I laugh every time I say that, but all episodes are available via boundlessauthenticity.podbean.com. You can also find Boundless Authenticity on Spotify, Pandora, Apple, Rumble, Podcast Index, Boomplay, Player FM, you name it, it's everywhere. And don't forget, follow, share with your friends. You can join the exclusive private Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/boundless authenticity. Hope to see you there. Thanks again for tuning in to the Boundless Authenticity podcast.
Take care.
All right.
That was good.
All right, good. I'm glad you had a good time.
Thank you. Thank you for having